Jennifer, have your eyes wide at me. Lovely, Jennifer. Jennifer. Jennifer, right here. Miss Marcus, Jennifer, what's your face? Jennifer, right side, on top. Joel, look at you. Right side. Joel, right, everything. Joel.
Francis, one more time right here, please.
The Red Sparrow on the right.
And everybody right here, please.
I don't think I would have been able to make this movie if it weren't for Francis. I mean, he's been a dear friend of mine for many years, but also I just trust him as a filmmaker, and I knew when I read this material and it was dark and gruesome that there was only one person who I knew could make it unique and tasteful, and that's Francis. Dominika's had to be a survivor on a level that I could never understand. So I think the ballet and starting to understand her physical and mental discipline certainly helped. Getting the accent and what she sounded like helped, but she's way cooler than I am. The movie is about survival. She's trained in seduction, but she uses her mind to survive. I would have never really seen myself making a spy movie. I feel like it's a genre that's been explored, and I always want to make, something new. And this is a completely different perspective on the life of a spy and the brutality that goes into espionage, the anxiety of the surveillance, the brutality of the lifestyle, and also living a double life and lying to everybody in your life.
It's pretty sexy, I have to say. I mean, a lot of spy thrillers are, but it's pretty grown up, and it's also led by a woman, who's a wonderful actress. So, and I think the whole business of Russia at the moment is pretty relevant and pretty, up to date. So it isn't a sort of dated old Bond thing. It feels very slick and very sexy to me. Red Sparrow is surviving by seduction.
She's trying very hard to stop her daughter getting into trouble. She wants to protect her, but they're in a desperate situation where they don't really have the choice. And so it's that heartbreaking thing of knowing your daughter's got to go out there and fight for herself, and that it's under very grim circumstances.
Really interesting what happens to people in countries like Russia, which, if you are a ballerina, if you are on top of your game, a lot of things are provided by the state. When something happens and you are not on top, it gets taken away. So those are the conditions that are kind of upsetting and interesting to look at it.
The script is incredibly well written. It's a page turner. Then it's based on this book from a person who gives us this inside look that I didn't even suspect was possible, that someone like that would be able to write about it. And so I think that makes it very unique. Dominika is a very seductive and beautiful but a vulnerable warrior as well. I mean, it's about someone evolving in front of your eyes in something that you couldn't imagine when you start the film, with such a streetwise intelligence, not just streetwise, intelligence on a human level. I find it an incredibly interesting female character, and I'm really happy it's there.
We work well together. I think, doing 3 movies over 4 or 5 years and liking the process, liking the outcome, builds up a level of trust that's needed to make a jump to a movie like this. We deal with much different subject matter, and she needed to feel safe, and I think she felt safe with me. Well, she's an interesting character because she starts as a ballerina, and if you're a principal ballerina, specifically with a company like the Bolshoi, right? says already a lot about your character, right? That you're athletic, that you have discipline, you have ambition, you have sophistication, you have grace. There's also a split that we see very early on in the film, that she also has a bit of a violent streak. So she becomes quite a sort of unique and unlikely hero. It's basically the reluctant hero that's pulled into this world. It doesn't portray the world of espionage as glamorous. It portrays it as quite brutal. So it's a very, very different way in, and also reflects the world we live in a very different way.
Red Sparrow is about a KGB woman who's forced to go to attend Sparrow School, which is an academy that teaches young women how to be entrap men for intelligence gain against her will. And then halfway along the line, she is recruited by a CIA guy, and they fall in love, which is doubly dangerous. Well, I think the quality of the film, and Francis Lawrence did a fantastic job. It's atmospheric, it's almost like film noir, it's very evocative and compelling, and there's authentic CIA tradecraft thanks to a technical advisor. Well, what CIA officers do overseas is like a clandestine journalist. We look for sources, we look for the story, we steal secrets, and we protect our sources.
Hey J-Lo fans! Did you know that whilst filming the Hunger Games Catching Fire, Jennifer Lawrence was left temporarily deaf in 1 year? Sorry, what was that you said? Were you a fan of Hunger Games franchise? Let me know below. Stay updated on all the latest trailer releases by subscribing and clicking the notification bell.